NFL Week 1 recap here. It was a fun week in the NFL, other than, I guess, the Bears, whatever.
No,
But
you're right. It was a fun week.
we had a lot of good games Thursday night. Detroit goes into Kansas City, wins. Huge upset. The Chiefs did not have Travis Kelce, but still, you would think
Frank
at home.
Clark.
But still, at home against the Lions. Lions go and win 21-20. I mean, that's just that just shows you that they're going to be a tough team in this division.
Yeah, they played good. Don't get me wrong. I don't want people to start panicking about Kansas City is still going to be playing.
Oh no, I'm not worried about them. No, I'm just saying that the Lions show that they can hold their own this year.
They're not your dad's Lions, right?
Yeah.
They're at least respectable, and but it kind of goes back to the Jordan Love thing. Like, now they got to come out next week and show that it wasn't just a fluke. And I think that they're at home against the Seahawks. They're a 6-point favorite, but like, you can't have a week to we expect from the Lions where they come out and lay an egg.
Okay. The Browns at home beat the Bengals 24-3. It kind of goes into what you were saying in our preview of all the of the AFC. The Bengals they get off to slow starts.
Yeah, 3 points out of a quarterback who just signed.
They look bad. The Browns defense looked good. I'm not saying the Bengals are going to be bad, but they just can't get off to good starts to start the season.
Yeah, and I guess, in 3 months, the conversation would be like, well, how did they respond from that? But, like, they looked awful.
Awful.
And I will also say, I thought
the Browns looked
pretty good.
I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, it's not like they were missing anybody.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I still don't think Joe Burrow is 100%, but, like,
no,
even Joe
he
Burrow
didn't play really any at all in the preseason, so.
Yeah, but, like, still, like, 3 points. I mean, don't get me wrong. Cleveland is much better. I think Cleveland is going to be fighting for a playoff spot, but 3 points in a season opener against your in-state rival, that can't happen.
The Bucks, in a pretty big upset, beat the Vikings in Minnesota, 20-17. Baker Mayfield. I mean, is this team going to be good? I mean, they play the Bears next week.
That's the thing, is like, they won the game. They beat the Vikings, right? But, like, Baker Mayfield still only threw for 170 yards.
Yeah, true.
They have weapons. That's kind of the nice thing.
That might just all you need.
Yeah, I mean, they still got Mike Evans. They still got Godwin. Like, they still have weapons out there. They didn't do anything crazy. Like, their offensive statistics are not, mind-boggling by any stretch of the imagination. But if they can do that week by week, and that defense played really well. I mean, Kirk Cousins threw for 344 yards, and they held him to 17 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Falcons being the Panthers in a game of two teams I do not think are going to be very good this season. The Falcons might be a little bit better. They got some rookies that'll be pretty good, but I don't know. I think both these teams are not going to be good, and I hope the Panthers are not good.
So the Packers play in Atlanta this week, and if they don't spend the entire week just working on run defense, because all of Atlanta's offense came from the running game. Algier was 75 yards and Robinson with 56. I mean, this team is what they are. They have Desmond Ridder, starting at quarterback, he threw for 115 yards in an NFL game. They won that game because of their running game. But like you said, a lot of young guys there. And yeah, I don't think you're going to have to worry a ton about Carolina. They're going to be good in the future. I liked what I saw from Bryce Young outside of the interceptions, but they have a long way to go.
Then we had the 49ers going into Pittsburgh, and wow, the Jets just won on a punt return.
No way.
Yeah, in OT.
Wow,
that's crazy. We had the Jets.
Do the Bills stink?
They also don't start seasons very good.
That's true. Madden curse, baby. Madden curse.
49ers beat the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers are going to be very good. 30-7.
But that's what's confusing is everybody talked all offseason about how the Steelers were this sleeper pick, and then they come out and they score 7 points. Like, I mean,
as a Bears fan, I've learned that everyone can say what they want about a team until they can actually play the game.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk this summer around certain teams.
The Commanders, shut up. The Commanders win their first game under new management against the Cardinals, 20-16. I think the Cardinals are going to stink.
Yeah, it's one of those you don't apologize for wins, but even that the Commanders were not good. I mean,
No.
Sam Howell, 200 yards, which is solid, for a rookie quarterback. I mean, he's in his second year, but it's his first time running the show. Arizona's bad, and Washington didn't look great, but I mean, that's another one where with the way the NFC is built, if they can just kind of sustain being mediocre, they may be flirting with a playoff spot. But Arizona's awful. I mean, just so bad. I mean, granted, God bless them. They had Josh Dobbs running quarterback. Josh Dobbs, nice guy, but I mean, what are we doing here, Arizona?
And one of the weirdest games of the weekend, I think, the Saints beat the Titans 16-15.
Shout out to Vrabes for kicking the field goal and get me that cover there.
Again, two teams I just don't know how good they're going to be.
Dude, Derek Carr, 305 yards, though. I mean,
hey,
he's got weapons.
He's proven he can be a pretty good quarterback. Give him some weapons and see what he can do.
And they still won't have Kamara until week 4, So, and that's also a team that plays in an awful division. If they can just, kind of remain and flirt. I don't think the Commanders are going to the playoffs because they play in a division with the Cowboys and the Eagles. But I mean, watch New Orleans, go 9-8 and, be in a wild card spot because Derek Carr just does enough with the weapons that he has that are going to get him by. Ugly win, but I mean, 305 yards and you score 16 points. Like, there was some really bad football on Sunday.
Oh yeah. Ravens, Texans, bad football. Ravens win the game 25-9. A lot of weird scores.
Yes. And unfortunately for the Ravens, look good 25-9, but J.K. Dobbins out for the year. They had two offensive linemen that are getting MRIs on Monday. I mean, I like the Ravens. I like what they have, but if they can't stay healthy, I mean, they're in big trouble. I really like seeing Odell Beckham back in the NFL. 2 catches for 37 yards. Zay Flowers is pretty damn good too.
You hit the Ray Lewis too.
Yeah. I mean, this team could be fun, but they gotta stay healthy. I mean, Lamar only threw 17 or was 17 for 22 for 169 yards, but gotta stay healthy.
The Eagles beat the New England Patriots in New England, but I think it's two teams that did not look that good.
Yeah. I mean, Mac Jones, 316 yards, and they score, 20 points. I mean, I feel like I keep bringing these crazy numbers up, but Jalen Hurts, I wasn't.
And in the first half, if you watch this game, you would have thought New England's season was over with. The Eagles were going to win by 2-3 touchdowns, and it became a close game. And I think New England kind of showed that they have a little bit of life left in their season, and then also showed that the Eagles may not be as good as last year.
Yeah, obviously
it's early.
It's a big task to, pick yourself up after you lose the Super Bowl. But, I mean, they're going to be good, don't get me wrong. But I wasn't insanely impressed. I think that New England's always going to be in it because I think Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. But let's be honest, New England's not a very good football team. And the fact that game was close says a lot more than it probably should.
Then we had the Rams beat the Seattle Seahawks 30-13. I mean,
dude, Matthew Stafford.
To think that the Rams would go into Seattle after what happened last year, Geno Smith, he gets the contract this offseason, this and that, and then goes out and does that.
Geno Smith looked in the mirror and remembered he's Geno Smith. 112 yards. Matthew Stafford out here swinging for 334.
Guess what? I'm still pretty good at football.
Yeah, let's not forget Matthew Stafford is a future Hall of Famer.
I always say that. I always say that.
334 yards.
Always say that.
Guy's good.
He's going to play for a while, too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. The Rams are, again, same thing, not a great football team, but if you got Matt Stafford out here slinging for 300 plus and with the weapons that they have, and they still aren't going to have Cooper Kupp until at least week 5, I think, like, can they hang around and flirt with a couple games above 500? Who knows?
Then we had in another ugly game, the Raiders and the Denver Broncos, 17-16. I mean, these scores, this had to be one of the weirdest scoring weeks of all time. But, I mean, both these teams stink.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of ugly football this year.
Yeah, especially, in those, like, there's teams at the top of each side.
Those NFC teams are going to be pretty bad.
Remember when everybody said that Sean Payton was going to fix Russell Wilson? Yeah, well, 177 yards, and you lose to what a lot of people expected to be. God, yes, the Cubs just took the lead.
Let's go.
Sorry. He hasn't fixed Russell Wilson. It's week 1, and that's embarrassing that you lost to the Las Vegas Raiders, who everybody expected to be a top 5 draft pick this year.
Yeah. Like I said, I think, unfortunately, we're going to see quite a bit of ugly football. The Dolphins go into LA and beat the Chargers 36-34. I think this Dolphins team is going to be pretty good this year.
Dude, I think both of these, that was the best game of the day.
I think there. Easily it was two of the better teams that actually played this weekend against each other.
I keep buying in on the Chargers, and they lose that game tight, but I still think Justin Herbert threw for 228 and a loss because Tua threw for 466 yards. I mean, what an absolute shootout. I mean, that was Tyreek Hill, 215 yards. This Miami team, I definitely thought that last year was going to be a flash in the pan. And if week 1 says anything, I think Miami's going to be tough at least.
Just so you know, Pete Crow Armstrong making his first at bat in the major leagues. Very cool.
Love that.
Dallas the Giants are horrible. Dallas, I mean, they're going to be good, but I don't know if they're going to win this convincingly every week. 40-0.
That's,
as low as I feel as a Bears fan, we scored.
Yeah. I mean, you get blanked on the first Sunday night game of the year. That's bad. And for a team that a lot of people thought would be the one that make that jump, right? They got they got Darren Waller. They've got some pieces. Danny Dimes gets a bag, and then they go out and get absolutely thumped.
Update: Pete Crow Armstrong, nice little bunt, move over the runner.
Selfless baseball.
Love it. And then, like I said, Buffalo goes in to New York and loses to the Jets after Aaron Rodgers played, I think, 3 or 4 snaps.
4 snaps.
Kind of just looked like a regular tackle, honestly. Gets up. If you notice, he looks over to his sideline, shakes his head, goes down, carted off. He had a boot on. All the doctors are trying to say it was his Achilles. You can tell from his calf. They said it's an ankle injury, and the x-rays came back negative. So as of right now, that's all you know. Zach Wilson does go in, though. They win the game on a walk-off punt return, which I don't know the last time that's ever happened. Nowadays, it never happens.
3 interceptions.
I'm a big Josh Allen guy, but also he struggles sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning of the year. But week 1, very fun. Excited for next week. Like you said, we'll have our pick show on the podcast. We'll have a preview of week 2 in the NFL. We are excited for this college football, NFL. It's the best time of the year.